All right. We are live. The time has come for the return of Tales from the Noose. I am, of course, your host, Chayton, or the House of Chayton. This is, of course, a House of Chayton presentation, if you will. So, before we get into the episode, I want to get down to brass tacks here. First off, of course, this is going to be a solo stream. This is not going to be anything regarding, whatchamacallit. It's not going to be links. People could come in and say this ain't that. But before we get down to some announcements I was talking about, and if you've seen Hero's stream, you kind of know what I'm referring to in a moment. But we're gonna mute myself for a sec because I want to see what the music holds. All right, I needed to make sure that the music and all that was good. Hopefully everybody can hear it and hear it in the background, but more importantly, hear me more than the music. I'm using my mic and all that good stuff right now, so bear with me here. But let's get down to some announcements. First off, as you saw the pinned message, check out, of course, Cypress. Tomorrow night, he's going to be going live. Some gaming, some announcements. He's, of course, formerly known as Tom Willis, my former co-host of the Hangman Outcast. So definitely go and check that out. As I mentioned before, we had a talk recently that was very well and kind of made amends on a lot of things. So at the end of the day, grown-ups became grown-ups, and we found the roots of the issue, and we moved past that. So, and I've shown him some respect, and he has shown me the same. I've also made him a mod on this channel, just so that way if anybody has an issue with that, then you can't really do anything about it. But nonetheless, and also if you have an issue with that, you can always directly message me. So, as the first bit of news, second bit of news is, of course, this show is going to be a new series on my podcast. Now, this is going to be basically a brand new podcast I'm going to be producing. It's going to be a rarity show, but I'll be putting it on Spotify, Anchor, all that good stuff in the near future. Now, I will have to edit some stuff out due to copyrights reasons, but nonetheless, that will be the where you can listen to it as well as I'll have more announcements regarding the future of the House of Chayton podcast coming to not only this channel, but also my podcasting places that will be coming soon as well. Now, with that, we got one more announcement. Now, as far as when the show will be premiering, be on the podcast, basically you'll be recording live, and then I'll be downloading, editing, and then putting it on the podcast platforms. But when I do that is not, maybe once I get a few episodes in. Nonetheless, and plus I didn't want to be a part of the House of Chayton podcast section because, let's be quite frank here, if you listen to the podcast, this type of discussion would not fit. So the final bit announcement, episode 2. Now when will it premiere? I don't know, but nonetheless, I will be talking about something I was once very critical on, and that is OnlyFans. So episode 2 of the House of Change, or sorry, not the House of Change, Tales from the Noose. I'm getting back in the swing of things of this whole situation. Episode 2 of Tales from the Noose will be titled "I Was Wrong About OnlyFans," and explain why. You will get some OnlyFans stories in this episode as well. Bear that in mind. But nonetheless, let's get down to episode 1 of Tales from the Noose. So, when was it? It was about 2021. 2021. I was just going through a breakup. You know, things weren't like looking up at that in the relationship category. Found a thing called Facebook dating. Now, I don't do online dating. I'm going to be perfectly honest here. Plus, I'm a cheap bastard. I don't want to have to worry about, and I'm too lazy to look up actual free, and I don't mean quote unquote free. I'm talking free dating sites. Just not that type of person. But Facebook dating, I was like, fuck it, why not? And when I started, there was a good amount of women on there. And one thing that you should know if you go on to Facebook dating, when they say they are not down to fuck or friends with benefits or are not looking for that or fuck buddies or what have you, well, in the famous words of someone else that's quoting that person, women lie. And howdy, Dragon, how are you doing? Because 95% of the women that I encountered, and I'm talking went out on dates with or anything, didn't take that much to fuck them. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Now, of course, I will protect the names of the innocent and the guilty, as we've always done here on Tales from the Noose. So bear that in mind. But let us start. I think it was in the summer, in the fall of 2021. So one of the first chicks I stumbled upon, we started talking. A little bit bigger than I'm usually okay with. But we started talking and went from talking to, you know, showing off some explicit photos. And she was also a little bit younger than what I usually look for. By that I mean only a couple of years younger than me currently. And I was like, okay. You know, everything was doing okay. Again, I didn't know if I looked at her as anything more than maybe a little fling, if you will. But without even setting up a date, without even meeting in person, this broad decides to invite me over to her place because I guess her parents were away, yada, yada, yada. And so I was like, okay. She didn't live too far from you. It was late at night. I was like, there was a bus route still that ran that late. So I was like, fuck it. I'll go. Get my dick wet, all that good stuff. So let's go. Let's go get it. But in the back of my head, I was like, she's invited me over without really knowing me. Hell, I could be a serial killer for crying out loud. You know, this, that, and the third. Or, not to be sexist, she could be a serial killer, serial rapist, whatever else you want to say, or it could be a scam. You know, that's always the problem with online dating. You never know if it's a scam or not. But like a horny bastard, I am, I decided to take the bait and go. And so I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And I went over there. And we chatted for a little bit. It wasn't directly into fuckathon. But after a while, we got into the hanky-panky. Also a girl who didn't really care for condoms, which at first I was like, okay. But then later on, I was like, okay, because come to find out, now word of advice to anybody who doesn't use protection. First off, do. Number two, make sure to check yourself every time after you have unprotected sex. Now, luckily, I didn't have any, but come to find out, this chick was known downtown as being a hoe. Which, hey, as one hoe to another, I can't kink shame. Let's be honest here. But, sup, Outer Heaven? How you doing, my friend? But she was a hoe, which again, basically made my decision of what I thought of her. And what I was going to, basically, what our whole thing was going to be. So, after that, the cream pie, all this other stuff, checked myself, every day was good. But after I found out she was a hoe, I decided to use rubber from then on. Because apparently she was fucking a lot of dudes. Which again, no shame. But again, it's just the idea that you gotta protect yourself, especially if someone has had multiple partners all at once. So it went on for a little bit. We hung out. She it was good that she was around right next to an HEB, so I could go and get stuff. So it was kind of like, okay, I could go fuck her and then just simply strolling all over to fucking HEB to go pick up some groceries before I went home. So it was a win-win. And she was right by a mall too, so therefore I could be like, fuck yeah, I could go to the mall, pick up some games, pick up some clothes. Everything worked out perfectly in that regard. Her parents seemed to like me, and mind you, we were never really together. But she tried to, we decided to do the Facebook thing, yada, yada, yada. Because I was like, fuck it. I don't mind being semi-exclusive for a little bit. And it's going to, that actually will lead into another episode of Tales from Noose with another woman. But she has nothing to do with Facebook dating, so that will stay. So basically, we went back and forth. We went our separate ways for a bit. Then we went back at it again and finally invited her over to my place. Fucked her in the ass, all that good stuff. Mind you, this is going to be very X-rated. So I recommend this not be around, like, no children watch this video. But if they do, don't come at me and blame me. It's y'all's fault for not watching your kids. So that was basically the summer and fall of 2020. Now, I was still talking to other women from time to time. But mind you, we never went on date. We never went to a bar. We never did this. We never did that. Basically, simple talk on Messenger. We exchanged nudies, and then we fucked. That was basically what happened. So with that out of the way, it led into probably the one thing that I have alluded to, especially on ZTB's stream, because me and her basically not really split up, but we kind of just stopped seeing each other for the remainder of time. Basically, after that, then there was another person that had my interest. People who use OnlyFans. Oh, that reminds me. Thank you, Cypress, and welcome to the chat. She also had an OnlyFans, which I had no issue with. I actually was in a couple of videos. One thing I even produced some of the videos. It was the cinematographer. She was good too. She had a night, and for a plus size girl, a big girl, she was good with getting camera angles right when she was by herself. Now, regarding the whole situation with that, yes, there was videos. I promoted her page one time a while back on this channel. Her OnlyFans is no longer there. But I always said, if anybody wanted to really see if I was short, yada, 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 if you catch my drift, if I wasn't packing, if you will. Well, basically, I would say that you could have paid $50 and watched the video. Totally unrelated, but I defend the women who use OnlyFans, but I think OnlyFans as a business is flawed. All I'm saying is easy money, why not? Exactly, with that mustache. John Holmes, I was actually talking about that at work today. And no, I wasn't talking about OnlyFans to my coworkers. I was more so talking about my mustache. If you're referring to John Holmes, and to a lot of you younglings out there, that's real old school. So, anyway. But, like, there was, like, a video that we did. There was a few videos I did with her. You know, I will say she charged. One of my complaints was she charged. Hey, Jay Houston, how are you doing, my friend? See, Cypress knows who I'm talking about. I gotta get used to calling you Cypress. And funny, I have the mustache down too. Anyway, my point is, though, one thing I didn't agree with. Now I got compensated for it. Not that I wanted to, but I'll talk about more of this on the next episode. When would that be? I don't know. I'm off Monday. Wednesday I'll be busy, so maybe next Monday possibly. I'm not sure, so don't quote me on that. But just FYI, I may schedule it for Monday as a placeholder. So, but anyway, I'll find out more once I get my schedule tomorrow. But one thing I didn't agree with, but again, I got compensated for it. She charged $50 for, you know, what do you call it? For, I think it was like all together with 2 videos, like a minute. Now, and plus, again, she wasn't a looker. Therefore, you know, I don't see the need. $20, maybe still pushing it, but, you know. But surprisingly, some dudes have their fetishes. They like some big girls getting rammed by whatever, you know. So so hey, you know, it did well in terms of finances, and I got compensated right there. I got maybe about $150 off of that. So that should basically give you an idea of how many people. If you subtract it by, or if you divide it by 2, you should probably take a guess on how many people bought it. But yeah, at that time, I was like, last year, I was like, hey, if you want to know how short I am, pay her $50 and, you know, get the fuck. I even told her I promoted it too. Let's see, Tom or Cypress, either one is 5 people calling both. You can tell who met me when I was just Cypress and who did. Yeah, true. So let's get into the part that I'm sure a lot of you are, especially like I said, the ZTV when he watches this. The dominatrix. Which also goes into my first and currently, is it? I think it is. Second or first and only orgy. What up, Bio? I'm doing good. Running on fumes because I worked this morning, but you know what? Fuck it. By the way, side note, I thought Mario Bros was excellent. So yeah. Just side note there, because I know Cherry wanted to hear my thoughts on it. So. Maybe on a open house I'll talk about more. But anyway, let's get into the dominatrix. Probably the one thing that a lot of people are probably interested in. So it was around March. A chick stumbled upon my profile on Facebook dating. And she was what do you call it? She was in her late 30s, early 40s. Ex-military, very attractive woman for her age, and of course found me attractive. Yada yada yada. Asked about if I cared about the age, in which I've said this before, and I'll say it forever. I've had better experiences with older women than I've had women my age or even younger than I. So if you ask me who would I rather prefer, a girl the same age as me or a girl in her 30s or even 40s, I'm going to go with the girl in her 30s or 40s all day long. Shit, there's one chick that's in her mid to late 40s that I still would drop everything for, you know, and all that good stuff. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so we started talking, and actually this one we did go on at least one date. I will give her that. 2 of them actually want to date before we did anything. A few others we kind of went into wham bam thank you ma'am. So we actually we met, we started talking, everything was going great. Again, sending each other nudes, talking about our sex lives, talking about, what we like and what we don't like. I've openly said that the only thing I do not want is anything up in the butt. Getting your ass eaten, that's fine. I'm down with that. First time it happened to me, I was like, fuck, it actually feels kind of good. So you know what, fuck it. That type of shit. I know that's going to get ZTV's going mad when he hears that part, but anyway. So like we were talking about that, and then we were video chatting. We were, having basically sex vid chats. It was fucking great. This chick basically was kind of what I wanted, at least sexually. Because I've had relationships where they've not really been keen on sending nudes, especially if we don't see each other that often, or they're not willing to maybe have dirty talk or fucking sex chat, like on video chat type shit, like all that good stuff. So this chick had everything that I wanted sexually, at least. What's up, IT bum? You better not be going live right while I'm going live, you bum. Like last night. Let's see. I'm looking at the, let's see. One second. One second. Okay. All right. I'll reiterate to anybody, this is a solo stream, just FYI to everybody. Just, let's see, when I walk into Jay. Hey, ITB, don't knock until you try it, pal. Don't knock until you try it. So anyway, but that was actually beforehand. Anyway, so regarding all this, we were talking about all this. So we decided, and it was probably one of the nicer dates I went on. We actually went to IKEA. Now you may think, IKEA, what the fuck? We had a lunch there. We had a nice little it was basically her window shopping, all that good stuff, which, again, maybe not my cup of tea, but you know what? It was nice. It was something different that I'm not used to doing. See, like, even though I am a fucking whore, I at least, I appreciate the little things in life. Yeah, see. I know, that's what I will say. See, if ZTB was here, he'd say, what the difference from a man or woman eating your ass? Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Anyway, so we went to IKEA. We had lunch there. Then we went to go see the movie Men. Which, if you've seen that movie, maybe not the best movie to go take a woman out on the first date. But we went to go see. We had a very long conversation about it. It was actually a good conversation. And get this, guys. Get this. We didn't fuck. That was probably the first chick that we actually went on a date and we did not fuck at the end. Now, did we make out the movie theater, kind of fondle each other a little bit? Yeah. But we didn't fucking go into hand jobs, blow jobs, eating out, all that good shit, sucking the nipple. We didn't go into all that shit. So, there you go in regards to all that. Then, of course, about maybe a week later, she invited. We were doing our video chat again, and she was like, "Hey, let's come over. I finally want to go with that. All that." I know, right? I know. But it was like, we want to come over. So I'm like. It was like midnight, right? And where she lived, there was no bus route that was going to take me over there. So I decided to do something I have only done a few times for a woman. And I'm talking to go to her place. And that was call an Uber. So I took my happy ass over there. As soon as I open the door, now remember, she's likes to be the dominant one for the most part. So I walked in. She was already in lingerie. And basically, we started making out, yada, yada. You know the drill. But then she basically put me down on my knees and made me go towel her. Then she grabbed me by my ponytail, and basically I was walking on all fours to the floor, to kind of a free area of the floor, and basically fucking her there. Now, me having a bad knee, I can't finish like that. Therefore, I was like, well, let's go to the bedroom. So once again, she basically dragged me to the ponytail. Mind you, I'm already butt-ass naked. She's basically from the waist down naked. Dragging me butt-ass naked into the bedroom by the ponytail. Lifted me up, throw me out of bed, all that good stuff. It was some of the best sex I ever had in my entire life. That's the one thing I miss of her is the sex. I do not miss everything else, but that was some of the best sex I ever had. Ironically, two women either in or near their 40s are responsible for the best sex I ever had in my entire life. And so it was great. This was how freaky this... You were sub, she was up. Yeah. I consider myself a switch. Therefore, I don't mind. But unfortunately, I have found a lot of women that are willing to be dom. So I primarily dom myself. But, it is what it is. But this is how much of a freak she was. So after I finished the first time, or for you adults out there, after I came, takes a little bit. Agreed, Cypress, or Tom. I'm just going to stick with Tom. After that, I decided to, what do you call it? I decided to, I was like, it takes a little bit for me to get it back up, especially since I came really hard. This is how much a layer ITB. You ain't off to work, you bum. You going to beg for change, man. You have a good night at work, man. Anyway, so this is how much of a freak. She was basically still she was doing everything to get it back up right away. Sometimes it could go up quickly. Other times, especially if I can't come a lot, it's going to be fucking a little bit. But she was fucking nibbling on it, kissing it, all that other stuff. Mind you, it's basically limp. It's basically it's basically taffy at that point. And she's just going to town on it, all that good stuff. So again, she was in love with it. So again, to the people who thought I had a short one, well, if I do, that's for people to pay for certain OnlyFans to find out if it's true or not. But women love it. Women love it. But anyway. So after that, we talked for a little bit. Then we got back at it. Then, of course, I left the next day. I would have stayed, but unfortunately I had work, so I had to go. I could have called in, but, I was like, fuck. I was already off that night anyway, the night before anyways. Even I have things more important to me than the pussy sometimes, I will say. So we kept going at it again every so often. It was great. I was getting a little too exhausted, especially I found one time there was a 30-year-old that I fooled around with that I tired her out. Now it was the other way around, and she was way older than me. So I kind of appreciate her stamina. Her stamina actually defeated mine. So that was good. Anyway, there were certain days that were I was, not the biggest fan of. She was not all there. I don't know if it was from her being in the military or whatnot, but she was like, sometimes she'd be a little crazy and too crazy for my liking, or even too crazy for the pussy to be, for all that good stuff. But then she was telling me about a thing she goes to once a year. And it was basically like a masquerade type thing. Basically, if you've seen the film Eyes Wide Shut, that was kind of similar to that. Basically, an orgy. Now, mind you, me and her, again, we were not like in a relationship. We were not boyfriend and girlfriend, yada, yada, yada. We were just basically, I don't even know if we consider ourselves fuck buddies, because as far as I know, until that orgy, that was the only time that, I ever saw that she ever brought that so she was with another man in that orgy, of course, because, all that good stuff. So, there was the orgy that we went to, and when you walk in, of course, there was a person there that it kind of felt like a soiree in a way. In this story are the fat chick slayer. Hey, the one chick in the first video was the fat chick. The other ones were more so a little chunky, but not too bad. Yeah, I'm basically the Mike Awesome of the 21st century, or the Mike Awesome of the 2020s, because Mike Awesome became the fat chick thriller in fucking 2000. So it's the beginning of 21st century. Rest in peace to Mike Awesome, by the way. Highly underrated talent. And that you paid for it. I never paid for it. What are you talking about? Facebook didn't pay nothing. Oh, maybe you're talking about the Uber. Yeah, in a way I kind of paid for it if you really think about it with the Uber. Anyway, so with all that, we went to, again, an order. We had to sign some things, some stuff regarding kinks, do's and don'ts. Of course, my main thing was no man is near me, near my virginity. If you know what I'm referring to about virginity, that's you could tell what that I'm referring to. That's going to be a virgin forever. So anyway, sorry ZTV. Anyway, so didn't have an issue with, let's say, the girl I was seeing was getting double penetrated by me and another dude. That I didn't have an issue with, but anything else, I was like fucking all that. That was, yeah. I will say though, it was an experience I will never forget. I thought the BDSM bar I went to back in 2019 was wild. No. And I am proud of myself. I never thought I would be able to keep it up with a bunch of other dongs around me, but I was able to with the women there. So fucking A, I was proud of myself. 1 second, let me take a swig or something real quick. Mountain Dew Frostbite. Good shit. Anyway, so the orgy was fucking just something I will never forget. It was funny. One of my jobs I've had, and it was like a masquerade thing a while back, and I remember I said this was the lamest masquerade thing I've went to. Someone asked, "You been to more?" I'm like, "Yeah, but it's not really safe for work to talk about." Anyway, so it was like, again, and it was like, it wasn't just men ramming women. It was men, women, men, men, women, men. So, it was quite a sight to see, basically. So, again, and to ask if I'd ever do it again, I'm going to be perfectly blunt. I don't know. I have to be with a chick that's completely and utterly down for that. So I can't really, I don't know. Which reminds me, I do wonder if she ever told her not about me, but her, because I still talk to her from time to time. She is engaged right now. So oh my God. No, you sick fuck. Anyway, so after that, so I do wonder if her fiance knows about this. How do you explain? Like, okay, let's say you find a woman that you're engaged with, or you're in a long-standing relationship, and then she asks about your partners. How do you explain, especially if a guy is not around this type of shit? How do you explain to somebody that, oh yeah, I was in an orgy and two men basically double penetrate me, also double penetrate my ass? Like, how do you explain that shit? From the woman's side, I guess you would say. Maybe from the men's side, it's a little bit easier. Maybe, especially if the woman's not the jealous type. But how do you explain something like that? I'm very curious if anybody's had similar experience where they had to explain it and see where they go from that. One of the reasons why I'm not big on relationships regarding certain things, but myself anymore. So with that, after that, we kind of went on for a little bit longer. Unfortunately, I'm the one who ended it. I know, right? I'm the one who ended it. Funny enough, I ended the last couple flings or relationships I was in. Because the crazy parts of her that was kind of getting a little worse. She's doing a lot better now, but I don't know if you need to explain. Who knows? Maybe they're into it. I'll explain it, but that you are a colorful individual. And if I was her, you and I'd be fighting right now. Let's see. You don't explain that, but you're a colorful individual. If I was her, you and I would be fighting right now. What do you mean, me and you? But yeah, that's just like if someone asks like who's like your partner, like how many partners? Because I've had that before where certain women, like the last relationship I was in, side note, she asked how many partners have I had. And it was hard for me to explain, not really the count. Because Facebook date, there were other women that I had flings with, but they weren't biz out there. Well, no one knows who she is and no one ever will. So therefore it's kind of like, all that. It's not like I say names. Oh yeah, this chick Sabrina, this chick Tamantha, whatever, fake names. Just again, like oh yeah, this chick Brittany got fucking triple penetrated by 8 or fucking quadruple penetrated by 4 dicks. Like I don't do that out of protection of the guilty and not. But like when the last relationship I had asked me how many flings I had or how many partners I've had, it was a very hard thing to answer because number one, like right now, not currently, but before I was, like I told her, I didn't tell her like this, but I would be like, you are my 50th. Now you may ask, how do I know how many I have? Well, don't ask me. And no, I do not have a pad of paper or a notepad on my phone that basically lists all the women that I remember. I don't do that. That's kind of weird. Why would you ask that? Anyway. But I asked that, and then she was asking certain things about that, and like certain things, and I was like, oh, fuck it. We'll see how she is. And I brought up the orgy thing. So I was like, okay. Because I figured if I didn't tell her, somebody else would have that I may have told. I feel you on that, Anthony. I feel you on that. So anyway, I broke things off or stopped seeing her because I was, one, again, the craziest, but also, two, I was going through some personal matters that I had to attend that really, again, no matter how much sex I got, I was like, I need to handle this at the moment. So after that, I stopped doing the Facebook dating for a bit. Then stumbled upon just say a hotel manager that I became very much. I'm still like that's still someone I call upon every so often. She was big into Candyman, and we actually had sex during watching Candyman. Didn't think Candyman would turn a woman on, but it did. Which reminds me, I have something to give her regarding that next time I see her. Anyway, side tangent there. So that was probably the tamest one because again we went to a date. We went to and don't tell anybody this. We went to the one place I take all my women to, Chili's. We went to Chili's. Now it wasn't the same Chili's I've taken a good amount of women to. That one unfortunately closed down. So I used to turn my ex on. Okay, that's weird. Maybe Candyman, because Tony Todd is, very, very with that soothing voice and all that. Be my victim, Helen. Like that type of stuff. But like, unless puppets turn her on or John Kramer, maybe I don't know. Anyway, so regarding all that, so yeah, that was probably the tamest one because again we went on dates. She bought me a few gifts, which was nice on our first date. Did the same. We went, like I said, we went to Chili's, had a good old time. Let's see, Jesse. Cherry's saying, I used to take first dates to Chili's. Oh yeah, I've done that since like in my. I bet she was. I've been sitting here, shaking my head, wondering between chuckles when is a good time to say hi. Hello, Cherry. I know some people are like stumbling upon saying, eating ass, this, that, and the third. It's like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I've taken there was a Chili's in a mall. I won't say which one. That I took at least 6 of my exes and 7 altogether, even if it was a date, to Chili's. I didn't take them to like Olive Garden or Cheddar's or somewhere like that until the dates got serious. Because when dates get serious, you up the ante. You take them to the fine cuisine. HMP, you know all about Cheddar's and its fine cuisine. But we went to Chili's. It was again, it wasn't the same Chili's which technically that Chili's closed out, which made me very sad. I'm like, now where am I going to take my women to? There's a Hooters next door, but I banged a few women at that Hooters. I've worked in that area, so therefore it's kind of like you kind of get to know those women there, so therefore you kind of do that. So it's like, I can't do that. So, it was like okay. So we went to Chili's, then we went back. Then we went to Target, and then we went. It was first time I saw Spider-Man: No Way Home on 4K with the slipcover because I've been looking for the slipcover. I couldn't find it. Found it with slipcover, but it was badly damaged, so I didn't buy it. I eventually just decided to get the steelbook because it got reissued. Side tangent, I know, but again. Well, hey, it's San Antonio. You basically. I've said this before. A good amount of girls why need Facebook date? Maybe I thought Facebook dating you would find some decent ones. I found at least one decent one out of the whole thing, and another I consider a good friend to this day. I date from a different. Well, okay. So I have tangent again, but again we could kind of. This is the theme of dating, so we could kind of go with this. There was a chick that found me actually through my review of Midsommar. Not a chick that I would, I still would actually do, drop everything with to go to her, right? She lived near, let's say Corpus. I won't say where exactly, but she lived near Corpus. She was a bank teller. And she would be, and this is going to be another funny story. So and she was, I think she was, at the time, I think she was in her early to mid 30s. It was a couple of years ago. It was back, I think, in 2019. And she messaged me on Instagram, and at the time I was oblivious that she was flirting with me. So we started talking again a couple months later, and then all that. She came down here, and she was, when we hung out, had sex in her car, and it was at a parking lot. It was raining too. And we planned this. This wasn't even fucking, this wasn't out spurred, but we planned to fuck in the car. And after that, and she gave tremendous head. Probably one of the first women to actually naturally make me, finish in her mouth. That I didn't need to do any stuff myself. She went back. She came back down about maybe a couple weeks later. Ironically, we went to this bar called Pat O'Brien's. Would not be the last woman I would meet at Pat O'Brien's. Pat O'Brien's kind of became also another place I would hook up with chicks. If you're in San Antonio, you know what I'm referring to with Pat O'Brien's. And so we were like, she came back down. We got a hotel or motel, or it's actually not too far from where I live. And it was, it was great. We had a good time, but work, personal reasons, and us not being in the same city kind of drew us apart in that way. But once I made a post recently about now taking applications for Friends with Benefits, and yes, I did make a post on that on Facebook. Just FYI, like I'm not that like. Sometimes I may exaggerate certain things. Everything I've talked about in this stream is 100% true and factual. Pat O'Brien's like the fox and the hound. Oh my god! Like, are you like it's a bar, or unless you're referring to a innuendo? And that is why you never drink out of a glass. So basically, that was really when So we edited things there and all that good stuff. But when I made the Friends with Benefits post, one of the first people who was like, "Oh, that gives you an excuse to come to San Antonio." So yeah, hey, again, anybody who knows me on Facebook, you could see that this whole thing with me is not an act. This is not like me hyping myself up more than I am. No, this is like But again, to be perfectly fair, a lot of chicks here at is a pub. Okay. But to be perfectly fair, I'll be completely honest with you. About maybe 50% to maybe 40% of the women here in San Antonio, I'm going to be perfectly honest, all you have to do is go buy them a Four Loko or Taco Bell, and they will pull your pants out and suck your dick right then and there. To be perfectly fair. But there are good eggs there, to be fair. Again, why do you think I have a high body count? Now on the road to 100. And then after that, Scott Steiner's record. By the way, for any of you WWE 2K23 players, the Steiner Row DLC is dropping tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. But regarding all that, I guess because there was a few other women, but it was basically kind of a rinse and repeat of the first chick. We talked for a little bit, we sexed, and then she'd go to my place, or I go to her place, and we fuck. That's usually how it happened. No dates, no dating, in a way, the line. But the one valuable lesson I learned is 95% of the women who say they are not down to fuck or they are not wanting Friends with Benefits, they lying. They lying. Because only really one of them, I had a date where we didn't fuck at the end of the date. One out of at least, I think, I would say maybe because 2 I don't really remember because 1 they weren't that good and 2 it was like and I came down and I was hit on a Whataburger. Oh yeah, exactly. I wonder if it's the same chick at that Whataburger that I messed around with for a cup of coffee. That would be kind of funny if that was. I try to avoid that Whataburger now because she was kind of crazy. But again, I don't know if that's the same chick. But anyway, so like, if you're saying you're throwing up, that's probably was the same chick. Anyway. So my advice, unless you're, especially in the San Antonio, unless you're just wanting to get your dick sucked or get fuck somebody, then yeah, use Facebook dating. But if you're expecting it to be Facebook dating, or actually go on dates that and possibly have a relationship, 1 out of 10 you may find that one. The rest of them you're just going to be going over there and fucking her. So if you want that, go for it. Trust me. I went as soon as that whole thing happened. I went back on it, and I've gotten a few more conquests to add to my collection, and more to come. I still have literally my phone is blowing up right now. I have a few chicks messaging right now. So again, at the end of the day, let's see. Yeah, like hell, 1 was so crazy I had to give up the pussy because the pussy was so fucking good. Again, she's engaged now. She's happy. That's all that matters. But oh my god, what I I missed that. It was again my top tier, the best sex I ever had. Ironically, the 2 that are at the top 2. I was dominant 1. The other one I was dominated. So yeah. But with that. The other ones, like I said, because there was others, but there was not. They either weren't memorable, I forgot their name, or both. Because again, as someone who I will literally. When I was talking about that book that I have names in, even though I don't, but there's some that basically I just describe what they looked like. I remember more what they looked like than their name. In my defense, I was probably drunk. Or maybe they weren't good. I don't know. The point is that if you're looking to fucking get laid, try Facebook dating. Try it. But if you're looking to fucking just for a relationship, I would say not go on it. But also, due to me being a cheap bastard, as the only site I will ever use to, get hookups or whatever. And I've not been brutally murdered, raped, or kidnapped. So that's something I'd say. And believe it or not, I'll deny I went on a date with a stalker juggalette. Oh, that does sound interesting. So with all that, I have more stories to tell regarding certain women. I will be talking more about only, but that may be a shorter episode, the next one. But episode 3 is going to be titled, I'm Sorry, Miss Jackson. And if you don't know that reference, I'm ashamed to call you a follower of this channel. And I'm ashamed of you in general. If you do not know where that's from, I'm ashamed of you. But episode 3 will be titled, I'm Sorry, Miss Jackson. And it will basically be when as HMB said earlier, when I was the fat chick slayer. Shit, I can market that. I've always said, I know some people make fun of and to be fair, mutual discussion platform, yeah. So maybe on a, what do you call it? The chick that was referred to at the beginning, that was the one, for anybody wondering, who was mocked by certain people. I don't hate and all that. But I've always said this to me, regardless, pussy is pussy. Doesn't matter. And personally, in my preference, I've always said this. I like a woman with a big ass. That's my preference. Preferably Latina. And there is occasions where I'll go with a big girl. Nothing wrong with that. More cushion for the pushing. But I've always said, the big ass, the tits could be big or small, but they cannot be smaller than mine. That's basically my limit on that. But when I was doing the fat chick Slayer thing, basically that was the intermediate between that woman, the Sorry Miss Jackson one, was the intermediate between that woman and the dominatrix. But I knew her for a long time, so therefore it was kind of like, it was based. That one is going to be a fucking weird one. Then I'm going to resurrect for episode 4 my weirdest experiences sexually. That's going to be episode 4. You will hear some retread on certain things. If you remember that episode from many years ago. But there's some new ones that really I don't have enough, it's not long enough to have an episode of its own. Therefore, it's going to be in that episode. So episode 2 is going to be I Was Wrong About OnlyFans. Episode 3 is going to be I'm Sorry Miss Jackson. And then Weirdest Sex Stories. I'll figure out a name for it. But that is going to be your lineup for the next few episodes. And after that, I'll figure it out as I go along. That's usually how it works here at Tales from the Noose. And don't worry, they will not be just sex stories. I will have other stuff or women's stories. I will have other experiences, personal experience I will be talking about in this series. This is more of to get to know me and get to know my experiences. So with that, I'm going to end it here. And I'm going to end it here poetically. Shout out to my good friend Mason. Which honestly, this video, I think you can't beat with sex stories. Yeah. Like there'll be some reach from this episode, but they maybe elaborate on a little bit further, and then there'll be some other stuff. So some will be tame, and others will be really weird. I'll give you a tease. One involves a pregnant chick. And no, it was like I was not the father. So that's a little tease for one of the weird stories. But shout out to my good friend Mason. I still use this clip from time to time, but for this episode and for others, I will be using it for this example. So with that, I'm going to play the outro. Just, of course, Blue Moon at Dawn. And then we are going to play the final part of this episode. So thank you all for watching. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Cherry. Shout out to HMB. Shout out to Cypress. Shout out to ATB. Shout out to Anthony. Shout out to, Outer Heaven. Shout out to Bio. Shout out to Jay Houston. And shout out to Dragon with the first person who commented. So with that, I bid you adieu. And until next time, ta-ta for now. This has been Tales from the Noose, presented by the House of Chayton.
Did you know that in terms of male human and female Pokemon breeding, Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for humans? Not only are they in the field egg group, which is mostly comprised of mammals, Vaporeon are an average of 3 foot 3 inches tall and 63.9 pounds. Now this means that they are large enough to be able to handle human dicks, and with their impressive base stats for HP and access to acid armor, you can be rough with one. Due to their mostly water-based biology, there is no doubt in my mind that an aroused Vaporeon would be incredibly wet. So wet that you could easily have sex with one for hours without getting sore. They can also learn moves like Attract, Baby Doll Eyes, Captivate, Charm, Tail Whip, along with not having fur to hide nipples. So it'd be incredibly easy for one to get you in the mood. With their abilities Water Absorb and Hydration, they can easily recover from fatigue with enough water. No other Pokemon comes close with this level of compatibility. Also, fun fact, if you pull out enough, you can make your Vaporeon turn white. Vaporeon is literally built for human dick. A golly defense stat plus high HP pool plus acid armor means it can take cock all day long. All shapes and all sizes, and still come for more.